I'm honored to welcome you to this panel session, everyone. One of the events to celebrate IEEE Site Day and celebrating the 10 years of IEEE Site's existence. You are invited to join a series of IEEE Site Day events and activities. And the Site Week will definitely comprise of a number of events which will be beneficial to all of you and the rest of the members. In this panel session, I'm honored to have a number of wonderful ladies, engineers, who will share with us their experience as far as the recently implemented projects are concerned. Juliana, maybe you can move on to the next slide. Moving on with our agenda today, I would like to provide some context for today's panel. As far as our agenda is concerned, this is the brief agenda that I'll take you through. And as far as in this panel is concerned, I would like to provide definitely some context for today's panel. Today, I'm so excited to moderate this session with wonderful 3 ladies or leaders from projects that received IEEE Site funding, HAC funding in 2020. We have an all-female panel this afternoon or this morning. 3 strong women engineers. They have joined us here today to share more details about each of their projects, to share best practices, lessons learned, and advice for others who are considering implementing a project in their own. Juliana, maybe you can move on to the next slide. Just to give you a brief history of IEEE Site, I will begin with 2011. This is when the IEEE Site was inaugurated. And in 2012, Site definitely launched its operations, as well as approving the first set of site groups. In 2013, IEEE Site established a proposal process, and the first awarding of the grants also happened in 2013. And in 2016, Site definitely reached over 100 groups and launched individual membership. In 2019, Site launched the celebration of the Site Week, as well as funding of the IEEE Foundation, and as well as the Site Awards. Just to note, in 2019, Site definitely reached the 9,971 member mark, and with over 149 groups. This is a very, very good achievement. In 2020, HAC and Site definitely had a joint host for the call of proposals. Many of you participated in this call, the COVID-19 proposal calls, and the first Site Day definitely was held. Just also to note, in 2020, that's when the site reached 12,000 member mark with over 174 groups. In 2021, just to kindly inform you, we have as of now reached the 600 member mark with over 178 site groups. Thanks to everyone, each of you members, for really volunteering in to solve societal challenges. And thanks to Juliana and the entire team at IEEE headquarters with all your input in this. Has definitely helped Site to reach where it is as of now. Next slide, Juliana. Just to take you through, we are celebrating IEEE Site Day, and as well as celebrating the 10 years of Site existence. And IEEE Site Day is basically held to foster a spirit of community for the Global Site Network. And as far as the Site Day is concerned, you are all invited to join a series of events and activities. The IEEE Site Day definitely will comprise of a number of events, among which include some of these events have already happened. For example, we had on Monday, we had the Site Day opening session, and we are honored to have the IEEE President, Ms. Kathy Rand, with us. This is today we are having two panels. We're also looking at having a IEEE HAC panel, delivering in particular. This panel will look at delivering impactful member experience through collaboration. One other particular activity that I encourage you all to participate in is sharing your site memory videos. Here we basically request you to submit in like a video of minimum 30, a maximum of 30 seconds, which will definitely include your memory, which should feature your memory as far as site is concerned. And we do think that this sort of video will definitely inspire others to join as members. You can as well as participate in the IEEE Site Trivia Challenge. And of course, we encourage you all to, if possible, support IEEE Site financially through the IEEE Site Fund of the IEEE Foundation. Next slide, Juliana. Moving on along with our agenda today, I would like to provide you an insight as far as today's panel is concerned. Like I said earlier, I'm indeed honored and excited to moderate this session with three leaders, project leaders, who received site and hack funding in 2020. We have an all-round female panel, strong women engineers. They have joined us here today to share more details about their projects. They'll definitely share with us best practices, their lessons, experiences, as well as advice for others who are considering to implementing their own project. Next slide. I have a pleasure to introduce the panelists for today's session. I'll begin with Dr. Gibby Florence Navarro. Mrs. Florence Naranzo received MSc and PhD degree in electrical engineering and her Bachelor of Science in electronic and telecommunication engineering. She has been an IEEE member and active volunteer since 2007 and as a student member of Columbia section. In 2020, she became a member of the Rio de Janeiro section in Brazil. She has been a site volunteer since 2016 and is currently a member of IEEE Region 9 HAC Site Committee. Today, she will definitely be sharing about she'll be sharing about one of the HAC site funded projects she implemented, which focused on engineering assisting ventilator maintenance. This particular project definitely received an IEEE MGA Achievement Award. I also take this chance to introduce Dr. Diana Pawitsari. She's joining us today from Indonesia. She received the doctoral degree in computer science and engineering in 2020 and is currently an assistant professor in informatics department at the Institute Technology through November. Her current research interests include information retrieval, social network analysis, computation intelligence, and web mining. She's also the head of data and reporting center of ICT Center at ITS. Today, Diana will be sharing with us about her project titled Web-Based Application for Tracing COVID-19 in East Java. I also take this chance to introduce Ms. Efrance Namugenyi. Namugenyi is a junior lecturer at Kyambogo University and in the telecommunications industry workforce. Efrance is a member of the IEEE Uganda section and the Chambogo University Site Group. Today, Ms. Namugenyi will be presenting on their project titled The Hands-Free Opening Door System.
Okay, well, thank you for the invitation first to share our project. As Luanga said, I am part of the project group Engineers Assisting Ventilator Maintenance that was created in Rio de Janeiro. Can you change the slide? Well, with the current pandemic scenario for COVID-19, hospital centers faced several challenges to treat a large number of infected patients. Besides the need for medicine, health, cleaning professionals, and treatment centers needed equipment. And at the beginning of the pandemic situation, many mechanical ventilators were purchased outside Rio and Brazil and got some issues with late deliveries to the country. Next slide, please. In the process of almost 6 months, we promoted the workforce training project in maintenance and repair of hospital equipment in the Metropolitan region of Rio de Janeiro. The project had different stages of implementation, from online training, mentoring, respecting social isolation, to the repair of the ventilators at maintenance spots furnace, respecting non-agglomeration policies. With a methodology for autonomy and the change of knowledges, the cycle training of each group of volunteers group at each new stage, resulting in a large network of people training to assist in the fight against COVID-19. Next slide. All this was also with the help of different organizations and partners at Cephet University that gave us the facilities of the university to create the rooms for each process stage. Furnas gave the technical support and contact network, for example. And IEEE Rio de Janeiro was a partner and support for all the stages of the project. And there were other partners that contributed in different stages of this initiative in the medical and technical support. And also the Rio de Janeiro Health Secretary gave us their confidence regarding the delivery of the devices for the group to repair. Next slide. Besides, other government institutions and IEEE groups gave the support in the technical volunteering. Next. And as we knew, this had to have an administrative and technical order. Besides, we made some call for volunteers and note that for social distancing protocols, not everyone had to be in the same space. So we divided the team in different functions or roles. For example, we had the maintenance team that was responsible for cataloging the equipment after the stage of receiving and cleaning, made by the medical staff first. All other responsibility was organizing the rooms and materials for repairment, the maintenance of mechanical ventilators, and doing the laboratory tests before approving if a ventilator was ready for delivering back to the hospital. Next slide. The marketing team was responsible for the planning and content elaboration for social media, the text creation and webpage structure, the data analysis about the mechanical ventilators, and video creation for publicity. Next. The coordination team was responsible for organizing technical and administrative activities, the control of financial funds, the elaboration of texts and proposals that needed to be sent to IEEE HAC, and the call for volunteers. Next. And the partner leaders that gave the basis to rocket the project, they have supported the activities, inviting stakeholders, providing the appropriate space and material, and handling the communication with local media. Next. During the process, we faced many challenges, summarizing these three in health monitoring, repair mapping, and asset monitoring. Next. And how we did address them? First, for repair mapping issues, we received a CEPET university team that developed an app to connect public and private health units, technicians, and companies that were specializing in repair of hospital devices. This app was called SOS Tech Saúde, that helped in the process of identifying which hospitals there were equipment that needed to be fixed. For health monitoring issue, we needed to be sure all volunteers that helped in the university campus were healthy to avoid any spread of contamination. So we used a predictive analysis of heart rate and data of non-invasive methods for activity cycle monitoring. This was provided by SREST that worked using red bands to collect the data, so they provided those devices. And for the safety of the public property, medical devices, several facial recognition cameras were installed to the place, the university. And with that tracking of the equipment since receiving to the delivering process. So this visual monitoring is provided by the partner, GESO. Next. And during the project, our marketing team made some questions to know each of the volunteers and what they expected with the project, and some of the answers for what was the meaning for them to be in this project are summarized here. The first way was get awareness to contribute in a quick way to help hospitals, be capable to volunteer in the fight against worldwide pandemic, to gather knowledge in medical equipment, create a contact network with similar purpose and broad knowledges, contribute to save lives in hospitals, being an engineer, promote IEEE HAC activities and volunteers in diverse media, and add locally to impact globally. Next. And some of the results or positive changes and impacts of the project are: first, in general, each of us gained different experiences and abilities during our time of volunteering. We learned from the little mistakes or obstacles that the project was carrying when implementing. And we could fit about 15 ventilators. We gained 16 IEEE students and YP volunteers. We gained also 10 technical volunteers. And I think it was the most important, we created a network of expert institutions and individuals to continue sharing the knowledge about these technical areas. Next. Other results that we had was to create a logistic protocol to carefully manage the repairs. We created also a data file where we catalog all the ventilators parts, and that with that we could catalog about 30 ventilators. Next. Also, other the impacts was to create a volunteers visibility. So we created a web page, a social media account. We were part of 2 article news about the initiative that were by IEEE. Next. And we made different technical webinars to gain knowledge in technical areas about mechanical ventilators. Next. Finally, we got 2 recognition, one last year by IEEE NGA. There was the Best Achievement Award, and this year we received the Best Achievement Award in Rio de Janeiro section, just thanks to this project. Next. So I want to give some advices in case any one of you want to be part of a project like this. The first is to evaluate the timeline for other projects. For example, we were planning to do the project in a month, and we faced very delivery issues regarding to the ventilator. So we had to plan all the project for 6 months. The second one is to try to make a planned timeline for the ventilator arrivals in order to synchronize the process and have the volunteers of the day they are received. Other is to organize volunteer agendas in order to have enough per day of work and for keeping social distancing protocols. And we suggest to make a weekly schedule. The other one is to use a gray space for repairing logistics. University campus with continuous rooms is a good place to use, and divide those rooms per process stages. For example, we did one for receiving, or for cleaning, or for classification of pieces and cataloging, repairing, and testing. Next. Besides, call for leaders and volunteers of different disciplines: medical, technical, management, communication, engineering, etc. Organize a training agenda for technical volunteers to know all the rules regarding medical devices, and list coffee breaks and volunteer transportation in the project funding form. This is important. Do online forms to catalog all ventilator parts. They are from city hospitals, so they need to be carefully registered in order to avoid future issues. And create a QR codes, put into each stage room to facilitate online access to the maintenance sheets. Next. And I leave you with all social media accounts in order you want to know more about the project. They are in Portuguese for now, but maybe you can take a look to them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, for that awesome presentation. I think I've learned from the presentation is that it's always good for a project team to plan for any eventualities in order for the project to move within the stipulated timeline. Thank you so much for that awesome presentation. And I don't know whether, Juliana, do you think we could ask any questions, or questions can come in at the end? Probably we can invite in the next presenter.
Yes, we have a time set aside for questions at the end. So I'll go ahead and get back into our presentation. And I believe our next presenter is Dr. Diana.
Thank you so much. All right, Dr. Diana, next.
Okay, just Diana is enough. Okay, thank you, Juliana. Thank you, Luanga. Juliana already sent my files to you. Could you please perhaps open my session by playing my videos?
How about now? Can we hear video, audio?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see the video, but like before, I could not see the sound. But yeah, I guess it's okay. It's just 4 minutes. Yeah. Just please bear with me. And then after this video, perhaps could you help me present my PowerPoint so I can, or should I share my PowerPoint from my site?
I have your PowerPoint for after the video.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So this is based on our situation last year. So this happens during May, and at that time in Indonesia there is quite some increasing, and then we try to have some collaboration with the local government that would be health department in the provincial level. And then this is our team is from our University. It's called ITS, Institut Teknologi 10 November. So this is our campus. And then we try to help the health department by build some application for them with some features. Of course, statistic is also important, but also there is some form that hopefully at the time, so in our countries, we divide it with province, and province is by regency. Hopefully the data can be collected from the regency because it's quiet in divided area. But we focus on the, because this is local activities. So in focus in my province, it's East Java. So Java Islands is it's not the largest, but our capital city is in Java Islands. And the second BC or is Surabaya. That's our capital in East Java province. But unfortunately, I'm going to explain more in my presentation. There is some drawback if we want to work with government. There is some rules that we have to not abide, but I guess it would be better if we prepare more collaboration, more communication with them. So I guess our projects kind of cannot be implemented in our province, but we try to in our area. It's so in our campus and its surrounding, and it's still used until now to track the COVID patients around our campus. So in a way, this is kind success application, but also not 100% succeed. So I think it's enough, Juliana. I think we can. So that's the testimony for our liaison office from the health office in the government side. This is in the beginning. The data can be collected, I guess, in the 2 or 3 months in the so around June until August or September. But after that, because the data is collected quite manually from the regency, it takes more efforts than we expected. So that's the basic summary, overall summary from our projects, and I'm going to, hopefully it's more detailed in my presentation. So Juliana, please, perhaps could you share my presentation? Yes, this is our title, our project's titles, and we also have some local collaboration with the IEEE chapter. This is Industrial Electronic Society. It happens that this chapter is the head of this chapter is in our university, so we collaborate with him, and then we try with these projects to map with the 3 SDGs. So for good wealth, number 3, 4, and 11. And then please next, Juliana. Yes, this is our team, and also included in here is our liaison officer in the government part is Pak Argo Winoto. And then next, Juliana, please. Yes, this is one example. At the beginning, we have quite intense communication with the governments. We have some web meetings, and then explain our plans, and then explain to the regencies officers for health department. Please next, Juliana. And then when we have discussed our plan, and then we built some forms, because this is basically is an application, and it is going to used for tracing the patients. And hopefully, if we get the tracing records, we can not perhaps not stop 100%, but at least suspend or delay. And then next, but you can see this is the form that should be entered manually, and that's the reason why it cannot be implemented in the when we are partnering with governor. Okay, next, Juliana. Sorry. Yes, this is some of the features. Next, Juliana. Yes. Yes, this is the problem. The second point is at that time there is a different priorities with our partners. At that during around September, so I guess there is quite change in the government policy, and that's why there are less interest in the development of for the website tracker. And because of the lackness of their interest, we cannot force the regency officers to input the data. And that's why, okay, we try to move our project into a smaller community. And that's why in the university and our communities around our university, and because this is a smaller community, we can control it. We can ask for our university to prepare some teams so we can monitor the data, and then also tracing. There is also the local doctor that partner with the healthcare community around our university. And then please, next, Juliana. Yes, and then that's why we changed the some of the view in the application, because the target has been changed. Next, Juliana, please. Okay, well, even though basically it's the same, but yes, when, for example, if there is like a cleaning service around our university, and usually the cleaning service is from the local neighborhood, if there is he or she has been infected, and then we input the data and also the data from his or her neighborhood, and that's become the tracing parts in this application. Please, next, Juliana. Yes, and that's why, based on our experience, I guess for the tracing, we have some 4 timelines, even though first is the gathering data. That's at the beginning in our projects, basically for the government. But after sometimes, if after we process the data, we try to visualize the data, we found the difficulties. If there is a lack of support, it's going to be quite challenging. And that's why, even though we all, still try to improve the modules, but with the changes of the target, it become more doable or implementable in the long run with all of these results. So we can get a case distribution map, daily report, travel history, and so on. And also we can make this promotional kit. And this, for example, this is our logo. And then next, please, Juliana. Yes, I guess that's the recommendation timeline. So I think it's similar to GD. She recommended 6 months. So here we also build the project for the initiation until the maintenance. It's takes 6 months. So I guess that's all from me, Juliana and Luanga. Hopefully it will be enough 12 minutes from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much for
so
sharing about your project and both the original plans and then how, due to some unforeseen circumstances that came up along the way, you had to change things. And now I believe we can transition to Miss Eunice whenever you're ready.
Oh, okay. So hello, everyone. I am happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation and the time that you have given me. Well, I'm Efrance Eunice Namugenyi from Uganda and representing IEEE site, Chambogo University as the team lead. And yes, I am in the IEEE Uganda section as the current vice chair. So our project was the hands-free opening door system. You can just help me go to the next slide. Juliana? Yes, I think I have already talked about my name. I have a master's degree in data communications and software engineering, and currently doing my PhD research. Hopefully, we'll get a scholarship in that very soon. Yes, our title was the hands-free opening door system towards the COVID-19 problem that invaded the whole world. Yes, we came up first of all with 4 designs, and we were able to produce only 2 because of the funding and the expenses. The COVID period came with a lot of expenses. So we're able to produce the hook and the keychain design in wood and acrylic. So how does this work? Each person, of course, we went to different organizations and tried to produce our product, market the product. We met different people who advised us, different expertise. How does this work? If each person has their own tool in a particular workplace, they don't have to keep sharing, you know, the door handles and maybe the lifts, the buttons, and all these other things. So each person, if they own their own piece, they can sanitize it after use. So of course they can also keep it and they don't have to keep on sharing. And in a way, we've been able to reduce on the COVID spread. You can see that the issues in Uganda have actually reduced greatly, and we want to thank God for that. Okay, so these are basically used for opening doors and ATM machines, elevator buttons, and touch screens for printers and such material and machinery. Yes, please help me go to the next slide. Okay, those are some of the hook designs that we produced at the earlier, you know, when it was still early. You can see this is acrylic, kind of close to glass, and wood. We made a few elbow designs, though there were not many because the funds were not enough. We were able to make, I think, about 800 pieces, and were able to distribute them to different companies, TV stations, some ministries in the country, and they were actually pleased to have them. We packaged them very well. We didn't just distribute them like you can see them now. And people were glad to have them. And I remember when we went to NBS, we were actually put on the news for this cause, and the government was actually glad to have us do this during such a sensitive time. Help me move to the next slide, kindly. Okay, so originally we were given 6 months to work on this, but we kept on waiting for the funds, and of course we couldn't print out any designs if we didn't have the funds. So the remaining timeline that we had, I remember between July, and October was 3 months, and were able to meet the targets. And yes, how did we do this? Of course, we were a team of 10 people, and we kept on dividing the different tasks between the project members. Then we met different people who are good in design and 3D printing, and different companies, of course, consulting here and there, and different people had different pricings. So we had to look out for that company that could fit the money that we had, and of course, train even the students that we had in 3D printing and designing. Yes, we did proper packaging. I remember we went as a team and we tried to package one by one so that we could bring out the presentation in a good way. Yes, then we did a lot of research as regards the people that have done 3D printing in this regard. And of course, the design is different from the printing, and we had to meet different expertise. And of course, in Uganda, when you meet certain people, you have to pay them for their good work. And so we had to put that in mind. And we were able to meet those people that were ready to fit within our budget and to work with us. Yes, I like that on the team, we were able to learn a couple of things. I'm sure many of us right now can do 3D printing on our own. Maybe what we lack is machines, and of course, printers have to come with their own, how do I call it? With their own labels, yes, and their own, there are those different parts that you have to ship from abroad to work on 3D printing. Yes, so when we found this place that had every packaging that, the 3D printer needs, we were able to work with them, and they were able to work with us. They were able to give us time to teach us, and also learn with them. Yes, just help me go to the next slide. Okay, so of course, being a COVID period, we faced a lot of challenges, especially in Uganda. Most of the machines come when they are not fully packaged. Okay, so you have to really research and look out for that specific company that could provide you the best 3D printer, which we maybe couldn't find. The ones that we found were actually overly expensive. That's why we're not able to pull out some designs, which is okay. So we were able to work with what we have with that specific printer that we found. And then the other problem that we found is we don't have many expertise in 3D printing in Uganda. There are few personnel. And when we found that person, of course, they had to overcharge us, but they were able to help us. They took us through lessons of how these printers work at an expense. But of course, now we have the knowledge and we have the experience, which is a good thing for students, for now, Chambogo University. And then transport was a bit too highly expensive during the COVID period, and we had to keep moving here and there, and of course spending a lot. But we couldn't also meet often. We had to have a few meetings with a few people, and of course, if you are a few people working on a certain thing, you can do so much. Yeah, there is not much that you can accomplish, but we were able to finish our targets within the 3 months that we had. Then we had difficulty in accessing some places. Many organizations didn't want people to come to do anything because of the sensitivity of the COVID period. People were worried for their lives. Companies closed up, businesses closed up, even shops, most of the shops were closed. But that wasn't a problem. We finally got the specific people that would assist us in producing the pieces. Can I go to the next slide? Okay, so what was the significance and impact of our project? Of course, at the end of the day, we now all know how 3D printers work, and we can be taken on as technical personnel in operating these. Then, of course, we have noticed that the spread of the COVID virus has reduced in the different workplaces, the banks and all that, the ministries, the TV stations. At least now people can freely walk, can freely move, can freely do their usual businesses. Then, of course, we were able to network with various companies and people who are good in design and of course what they do, many other different things. Like at Motive Uganda, we were able to meet people at NBS, UBC, these are TV stations in Uganda. Then the Kampala City Council Authority were able actually to distribute some of the hoop designs to the people around. Okay, KCCA is all about the different works that happen in Kampala. Of course, they set up public toilets and a lot of these public places. And so distribution of these designs was essential to them. And I think they found the project fundamental. And of course, the other significance was teamwork. I have learned a lot after this period that it is necessary that we work as a team. You can have a good idea as an individual, but until you get that person that can assist you implement that, another can do the documentation, it is good to work as a team. I realized that when we got the team together, especially I think the hard bits came in when we had to distribute and package the parts, you know. But when we worked together as a team, there was reduction in, of course, the labor, and we're able to finish the work in time. Then, of course, members were encouraged to think of how they can solve community issues, and many people and students were inspired and are developed for now. But these projects are putting it at a level where, you know, it can stand out, you know, and compete with the rest of the countries. And I want to tell the team and those people that want to do these projects, if they're looking for funding, that yes, they can go ahead and implement their solutions. I've realized that many students in Chambogo University, okay, being in the engineering school and the department, and they realize that students have great ideas. The problem would be the implementation of those ideas, and of course, the resources to see that what they have thought about and what they have written down can actually happen, and they can have those specific materials that they need to do what they want. They only need a push, you know, in terms of resources and expertise, access to research and notes to do what they have. Yes, next slide, please. All right, so that is NBS, and you can see that people were excited to see these different designs, taking them around, and of course we had to be careful, observe the SOPs, and it was successful. Yeah, they were really blessed. Yes, next, please. Okay, yes, so these are my concluding remarks. As engineers, all we need is to create solutions wherever problems are, especially if the human aspect is involved within communities. So if you have identified a problem, to the people who have solutions to problems, please go ahead and provide a solution. Regardless, with or without funding, we can make things work. Yes, thank you very much for the time that you have given me. May God bless you and keep you. Thanks. Yes, that's the team. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Efran, for that awesome project presentation. I must say, they are all wonderful projects. Thanks to Dr. Gidi and Dr. Diana. At this moment, therefore, we could welcome in any questions from the participants. feel free to share in your comments or questions to the presenters. Thank you.
Sure, and I have just one question to start us off while we're waiting for the audience to submit in their questions for our panelists. We have the very unique experience, unfortunately a unique experience, but the first time that we've held an IEEE site event with panel with just women speakers, which is a wonderful milestone for us today. And I'd like to ask any of our panelists that would like to respond in terms of being a woman leader on your respective project teams. Did that come into play at all during the implementation of your projects?
I think what Julia, is that mean that our genders become our problem, become some kind of problem? Is that what you mean, Juliana?
Perhaps not a problem, but did that, yes, I am referring to gender just to say, did that affect your work on the project at all? Did it affect perhaps the people that you were working with, the organizations that you were working with? Yes, that's the question.
Yes, I guess in my case, no, because in my country, it's quite often that a woman is already in the STEM fields, yeah. So engineering is not quite rare. Perhaps in a mechanical, yeah, perhaps there is still some rarity in that field for women. But in the informatics, so it's custom, and usually as a women, we have quite easiness to explain our projects or perhaps our application compared to the men. Because I don't know, in with perhaps we have some more emotion, more empathy in terms of language style compared the brief version of men. So I guess that's become our highlight as a women in engineering in Indonesia, especially.
Very interesting. Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Probably I can also share in my question to the panelists. Once again, thank you so much for those awesome presentations and the wonderful projects, I must say. Maybe one question that I have is, what prospects are there for your solutions to be adopted and utilized by members of your communities in responding to COVID-19? Because I know some of the projects were like prototypes. So are there like prospects for like key institutions to take them on? Thank you.
Yes, I guess in my case, it's not prototype yet, but if you see the scale, yes, this is quite small because this is just still around our local area, but it's continuous. Up until now, we still use it whenever there is new case, and it's the application quite helpful. In sometimes we cannot give the name, but at least when we trace and when we record, we found that there is some activities that perhaps happens in our campus that's become the source of the infection. So we can find it early and then try to monitor it and also try to cut the chain reaction. Yeah, so this still continues, Luanga, in my case, for the application.
Thank you. Yes.
Well, I can add that our project doesn't was create a prototype, but most to do a logistic process for the repairment. That was a great challenge that we had to face. So the project can be have a legacy of give that process of cataloging the ventilators, at the first we faced it that the first leaders that wanted to create that idea didn't know how to do all the steps in order to repair the ventilator. They have the energy to contribute, but didn't know how. And so this project can give all the steps to do that in order the next volunteers can be IEEE volunteers or Rio de Janeiro volunteers can continue this process.
Thank you, Dr. Gideon.
And it looks like we have one question that's submitted by our audience member. This one comes from Abdul Latif. He says, "Thank you to all the presenters. Sometimes projects do not go as planned. I'm sure all of you can attest to this after your experience. How do you manage changes on your project that impact your budget?"
Okay, in my case, because basically for our team, this is a volunteer works. And that's why when we build the application, we also make some help from the student, and we ask the students that this is a volunteers, but we try to give them some credits that some recognition from our university that they already make some contribution, and that's become a portfolio when they are finding jobs after graduation. And also we try to in our university we have some small grant for this kind of community works, and we also try to at least parts of the projects to be submitted as a proposal. It's not much, but at least for some operational works that cannot be supplied from our pocket money, we can still use that kind of grants. Yeah, I think that's the question for Abdulatif Aliyu. And for the reportings, I guess that's not so difficult, yeah. For the side projects, we just there is some application for the site, so we just put the reporting. So yeah, that's not so difficult. I think that's for me. Perhaps GD or F1's Eunice could add more explanation based on their experience.
Yes, Efrans Eunice Namugeni, though I didn't get the question because my connection was working a bit. Could you kindly repeat it for me? Kindly?
Yes, okay.
Sure.
Could you, yeah, that's Juliana going to repeat the question.
So maybe we'll go on to our second question here.
Okay. Could you kindly type?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I'll just repeat for everyone, but how can site projects be recognized outside the IEEE community? I think that's a great question. Thank you, Brian, for that submission.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. How can site projects be recognized outside the IEEE community? Yes, exactly. If we do a lot of fundraising, I think when we have days like the IEEE Day, IEEE Site Day, you know, this is an opportunity for us to present what we have and put it out there in the different places. I think the problem will come in. The problem maybe that we have now could be the marketing, but I think we can do that. We can put out what we can do, what has been done over the different social media pages. If it's like IEEE Site Day, you know, we can make it open to every university in every country. And I think I think it would be a good place for us to show that this is important, especially the human aspect, you know. I think people are looking for solutions to see that the human aspect is put up there. So if we can market these things that we have done, like right now, put them all over Facebook, Twitter, you know, every page, market the site group in every university, in every country, I think we'll be good to go. Yes, thank you.
In our case, that's why we created the marketing team, because we saw that we needed to expand the visibility of the project in order to gather more institutions that contribute to that. So I think that was a good start to gain visibility and to have more help of other institutions. You see that our partners were a big group that each one contributed in any of the problems we had to face in order of social distancing conditions or monitoring health or doing the cataloging. And that's why we created the web page. That's why we created the social media account. And also the CEPET University helped to spread with videos and with articles about the project for gain that recognition of the project in Rio de Janeiro.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for those thoughts. Well, this has been a wonderful presentation. Thank you all today so much. I'm going to go ahead and conclude our session, even though I'm sure we could, you know, ask some more questions, because part 2 of our HAC site funded project panel is going to begin in just about 20 minutes. So if you're in our audience today and you're interested in learning more about additional funded projects from IEEE members around the world who were responding to COVID-19 challenges in their communities, feel free to join us for that panel. But for now, I'd like to thank everyone for joining, thank our panelists for sharing their insights